Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Welcome to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live from within the Max 6 Conscious Capitalism workspace in Tempe, Arizona, where we help build businesses and connect you with the right people. I'm your host and Phoenix Business Radio studio partner, Karen Owicki, and we have a full house today. I was saying earlier, I'll call it a green room, but I think we're actually in the studio, that this is the first week since COVID that every one of our shows, sponsored or the shows that I host myself, where we've had more than 2 guests. We've had 3 or 4, and it is a full week, and I'm very excited. Some of which are here in the studio with me, and for other shows, we have people still coming in via Zoom, and we love having you here any way you'd show up. So on that note, let me introduce to you our guest today. We have Sean Sarram, the CEO and founder for Avontage. Hello, sir.
Hello.
I'm so glad we finally did this.
It's a pleasure to get out of the house and finally see.
Yes, and was it Breck?
Breck,
and he just emailed me this morning. So shout out to Breck. He had just emailed me this morning and said, have you connected with Sean and Avontage yet? And I got to say happily, yeah, he's going to be on at 11 with us.
Breck is amazing.
He really is.
Absolutely.
I'm excited and looking forward to getting to know him even better. But we have him for the reconnection. We have him to thank for a reconnection.
Absolutely.
But you and I have been swimming in the same circles for at least a couple of years now.
For a couple of years, yes.
Yeah.
And it happens to be now. So it's definitely, I'm looking forward to
this.
this.
It's the perfect timing. Yes. And Fred Morgan is also joining us, co-founder and owner of Fired Pie. Welcome, Fred.
Hey, welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
So thrilled. I can't wait to talk about your food and your business. I'm excited to learn more about you and everything that you've got going on behalf of Arizona. And Fired Pie outside of Arizona too, or just Arizona?
Just Arizona.
For now, or?
For now.
Okay, I like that. Let's put a little question mark or a comma after that.
That's right.
Wonderful. And Ellie Lowney, founder of Creating Buzz PR. Welcome, Ellie.
Thank you.
So excited to meet you for the first time.
Yeah.
And you said you've been in Arizona for about 4 years?
Right.
Coming from where?
San Francisco.
From San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Well, welcome. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of cross connections now that we've been eye to eye and heart to heart.
Well, speaking of, Brock is one of my clients.
Perfect. I love hearing that. He was a guest on Tycoons. Is that the show, right? I think he was on, no, From Zero to Revenue with Chris Yap.
Right.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize that. So you already got to hear, did you get to hear that particular interview?
I posted it for both of us.
Yay.
As soon as it came out.
And Chris does a really nice job with his show.
Does.
Yes. And last but not least, Mark Jamnik, who is a simplifier. I love that title. And his company is Enjoy Life Daily. And this is a man who does a lot of things extremely well. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
And I'm laughing because you haven't been on a show with us either.
I have not. No.
How is that possible?
COVID?
We could blame it on
I don't know,
COVID.
but I'm glad to be here.
And
it's
Mark,
wonderful.
Mark was in the studio just about a month ago. He helped us do the voiceover because he's just got that voice, right?
Got the voice, that's for sure.
For Conscious Capitalism AZ's show, People and Profits. Oh. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that because I need you to do a redo because I screwed up on my end. Anyway, fun introductions and unique businesses, right? So why would a collective group like this in Arizona come together on Phoenix Business Radio? It's because you all contribute to our community and are doing amazing things for your clients. So to get us kind of kicked off, let's have you each just start by, again, just restating your name, the name of your company, an organization, and then tell us a little bit about your business. We've got a lot of time, so don't feel like you have to, shore it up too much. And, we don't have 4 hours, but find somewhere in between. Since you are our friend, Sean, that got to bring us all together and knew that there was magic with this particular group of people, would you mind kicking it off for us?
Absolutely. And thanks again for the opportunity, Karen. And it's a pleasure to finally be able to do this. So I'm Sean Sarram. I'm the founder of Avontage. Avontage is a place where you, for local businesses to come and grow your business without spending money. We're a marketplace, a platform that local business owners, freelancers and creatives and coaches and any founder or entrepreneur can come in and offer their services and skills in exchange for other services that they need to grow their business. So it's a business trading platform. And we've launched back in October of 2018, and we've grown to about 1,300 members here, just about ready to launch nationally. Yes.
And a couple of first-time member, or how do I would say it? Fred and Ellie both have been with you for a while. I'll just say it like that, right? No, or Mark? Mark and Ellie. Yeah. So they've been with you from about the beginning.
I met Ellie actually before we launched. So this was one of those things. She reached out. She says, I see, I had a website. That's all we had. She says, that's very interesting what you're doing. And I said, well, you want to meet for coffee? I said, sure.
Yeah, I could see back then it was a great idea.
Yeah, so this is maybe 2.5 years, 2 years ago.
2018 or something.
Yeah, and then Mark later on, early this year, and Fred just joined our platform, our communities.
I love that because we've got a little bit of everybody here.
Yes.
And the businesses that you represent give it a great example of how Avontage can be utilized.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is the trifecta, what we call the three kind of our personas, or the people that would take a bit most valuable and have benefits.
Okay. Yeah, so good. Ellie, introduce you, please, and your company.
So Ellie Lowney with Creating Buzz PR. And I've been in Arizona 4 years, and I opened my business here about the same time I spoke to Sean. So I was originally in San Francisco and actually fell into PR. I've been in sales and marketing for nutritional and nutraceutical companies. I've been in the health and fitness industry for a long time. And then while I was doing events with San Francisco Bay Club, which you probably know, someone approached me to do PR. So I've been in it for a while. It's a different market. I mostly do a combination now of traditional and digital, but I think it's such an interesting time because so many people are going back to traditional PR because the digital landscape is just so noisy now. People are just having a hard time getting anywhere online. And so it's an exciting time for me because I kind of went through a dip for a while and then I had to catch up and learn a lot of digital stuff. And so it's a great time now because people are really seeing the value in, I call it real PR. So it's traditional with digital.
Yeah. So I want to ask about real PR. But before that, did you say someone pressured you into doing PR? Is that how you said it?
Oh, no. Someone approached me.
Approached you. I was going to say, there's got to be a story there. I want to hear that. So somebody approached you and said, do you do PR or could you?
Yeah. Basically I was doing a lot of events with the Bay Club anyway, and they were very successful. I put on events for World Wildlife Fund at the club by the Embarcadero and quite a few other nonprofits. And then someone just approached me and said, it was Alioto PR at the time and said, do you want to come on board? So I did, and it was a lot of fun. My first client was Personality Hotels, 5 boutique hotels in downtown San Francisco.
So good. Well, we're lucky to have you here in Arizona.
Thank you. Yeah.
So what is real PR?
So I just call it that. A lot of people are having this conversation about digital versus traditional. And I do find that some digital people are trying to put down traditional, or they just don't understand the value in it. So they honestly think, writing a press release and putting it out on a newswire is PR.
It's enough.
Right. And it lands in sort of third party, not that much respected places is what I'm going to say. I'm getting touchy here.
Fair enough.
And so with real PR, we are really going after, as a matter of fact, I had Breck in the Arizona Republic and USA Today recently. And so we're going after those outlets first. And of course, then everything goes digital after that if it fits. But it's still those connections. It's still getting that third party respected journalist to talk about you because you have something of value to bring to the table. So, yeah, that's what I call real PR. And then it goes digital and everything is out there on the internet. It's never going away. So when you do get that respected journalist to talk about you, it's so much more valuable.
And PR stands for public relations. Yeah, I know most everybody, understands it, but not everybody does, right?
Don't. No, so many
might think
people.
Press release.
Right.
That'd be very limited if that were the case.
Yes, and often I call it publicity because people don't know what PR is.
Yeah.
They think it's really for large corporations that have a crisis and need someone to fix their situation, or for parties or for celebrities. They don't know that almost anyone can use publicity, especially up and coming brands. They really need good publicity, real publicity to put them on the table.
Right. Thank you. I can't wait to learn more. Everybody's wheels are spinning here in the studio. Mark, tell us a little about yourself and how you landed here with Enjoy Life Daily.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah. So I am a time creation strategist. And what I do is I help entrepreneurs really maximize their productivity and fulfillment. And the key to that is really helping people find, document, and track things so that they can really organize what they need to do. Think about how many different things, as Ellie was just talking about, there's so many different things inside of the noisy social media aspect. And you bring that inside of your business and you have the same types of things and the same types of challenges in terms of there's so much noise happening, so many different messages, so many different ideas, and so many different things that you need to do. So what I've really done is over the last 10 years, I spent 10 years in the advertising space. And after I had a little bit of an experience in 2008 when the economy took a little downturn, I decided that I needed to reevaluate where I was going and what I was doing. And so I hired a coach and started going down that path. And after attending a Tony Robbins event, I was like, this is a path I want to go down. So I started on the coaching path. And I remember landing from Vegas. I was at a Tony Robbins event in Las Vegas, landed and hopped in my car and quit my job. And that's when I started my company almost a decade ago. And it's really funny that we're talking here because just 2 doors down was where Scott McIntosh had believed in me as a consultant and a coach to help with a lot of the entrepreneurs that were coming in through the Max 6 incubator. So I started working with a lot of different entrepreneurs back then, and I was really seeing a lot of the challenges that they were facing, whether it be from a messaging perspective or just from an overall sales perspective. So what I did is, 8 years ago, I began taking all of those things that I was sharing and really beginning to put it into more of a formula and a program, which I call the time creation method. And so that's really what I've been doing. That's what I've had an opportunity to work with a few members here that are actually on the show. So, it's been wonderful to help and really support this community and support the entrepreneurial community, because I really believe, so much in what entrepreneurs are doing out there in the world. And I just want to be able to take what I feel my gift is in terms of creating organization and taking coaching and consulting and really applying it in a way that others can do it today and for years to come.
Mic drop. Done.
Amazing.
So good. And clearly you stand in your brilliance, right? Every time I talk to you, you just are really just spot on. Here I am. And you have, I think it's a fairly new adventure. Your life as an artist. Is that a fairly new altogether or fairly new publicly?
Fairly new publicly. A real quick kind of aside, when I was growing up, my mom would take me to art classes at the library. I mean, I was really, really little, and I've always loved art. I've always loved that design. And then, as I grew up, it was like, well, I can't make any money doing that. And I had, my dad lovingly said to me, he's like, Mark, you've got very expensive taste. You're going to need to make a lot of money. So I was like, all right. He's right. And it's definitely true. Mm-hmm. So, I went down this path of, sales and entrepreneurship, and ultimately throughout this experience of the quarantine. And I share this with you whenever we were meeting to talk about the Conscious Capitalism podcast. I said, I never looked at this as a quarantined. I looked at it like a chrysalis. And when I went into the chrysalis, I realized that I was going to come out a whole different perspective. And really what I came out as, and as I emerged, I really emerged as the true me. And the art has been something that is really guiding me. I say my art is my heart and my heart's guiding me. And it's really given me an opportunity to really express myself fully there, which is, I love abstract. So talk about the dichotomy of that. Sure. I'm all about organization, and yet my abstract, I have no idea what I'm painting. And so it's really just such a beautiful release for me to have those two seemingly desperate ideas so come together in a way. And, I've really found a way to even bring that in from an organization perspective into art. So there's a story behind, I call it subliminal story art, inside of all my art. So there's actually a story underneath each and every single painting. And I've systematized the process as an organizer would do. And so, it's really given me an opportunity to do that. And I just absolutely love doing that. And it's a side hobby for me to be able to express it, and I really enjoy doing that. So thank you for allowing me to share that piece too, because we have so many different facets. I mean, each and every single one of us have so many different facets to us.
And when we think that we're this, right, whether we're left brain or right brain or whatever that is, and we limit ourselves, we're missing out. Right? We got to be able to step out of our comfort zone. And you've just given that great example between really these very diverse aspects of you. And we've all got it in us. It's just a matter of unleashing it. And it's neat that you've done that. And I know that in the work you do with your clients and people worldwide, you help them find that as well. So
thank you. Yeah.
Great. And I didn't do this on purpose because I didn't know what you were going to say, but I love that you mentioned that COVID was a time to kind of go in and be the chrysalis and to see what was going to come out on the other side. And I can't help but as we turn the mic over to Fred with Fired Pie as a restaurateur, that likely you've kind of had to do the same.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been, very difficult times, and we're a local company, right? Fast casual. And we have 21 locations throughout the valley here.
21?
Yep, 21.
Get out. I just know mine in Ahwatukee. That's,
Yeah, well, we have one in Tucson and the rest here in the Phoenix market.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. So, it has been difficult. And, some locations a lot more difficult than others. Our downtown location, it's really dependent on sports, office workers, conventions, and that's all gone right at this point. So we've had to close that store temporarily. But the rest of stores, some are higher sales than they've ever had, and others are, next to movie theaters, malls are also still struggling, right? So we've had to add stuff very quickly to our operations. The curbside pickup was huge, and luckily we had rolled out online ordering about a year before, so that was good for us, and we saw a huge spike there. And third-party deliveries we had, so we've seen, of course, a huge uptick in third-party deliveries, and we were able to, even in roughest times when we were shut down, we were able to keep about 95% of our employees employed.
Wow.
So that was good. And, we're at about 350 employees today. As employees left, we maybe didn't replace some employees. Some employees, of course, decided to leave because, being on the front line, sure. And as much as people don't think, parents didn't want them to work in that environment. So when we did have to lay off people, when we lost that 5%, we tried to do it as responsible as possible. And, was it high school kids? Was it college kids? Was it people that really weren't dependent on that paycheck, which we really wanted to make sure. And so it's worked out, actually. We've been hiring for over 2 months now and having a hard time hiring in some areas, right? And especially in the Scottsdale market. But it's great. If you've never been to a Fired Pie, of course, we're custom pizzas and salads. We have mac and cheese, and we're local. We like to be involved with the local community. We give back to the local. So that's a big part of us. We were, my partner and I, we founded this business in Arizona. It's our idea. It's not a lot of people think we're a franchise. We're not a franchise, right? So, and we had planned on opening 6 stores this year, and that kind of changed pretty quickly. But, we are looking. We're back on track to look for some new restaurants. So, but thank you. Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And I'm going to answer that question differently. Or not that was a question, it was a statement. If you've never been to a Fired Pie, you had the nice version. I'm going to say, get your car keys. It's almost lunchtime. Get there now. Or if you're still not traveling outside of your home, perfectly fine. Get online and order.
That's right.
It's delicious. I said before you got here, your gluten-free crust is among the best. And do you have a cauliflower crust as well?
Cauliflower crust also, yes.
Yeah, and of course, the very basics, pizza that we all grew up on.
Yeah, but we even have a plant-based chorizo.
Yes.
Yeah, we put that. We have a vegan cheese. So, that's the beauty of pizza, right? Pizza, and of course we have salads, but it appeases everyone. I said today, from 2 to 102 can eat pizza, right? And then every food group, every nationality. I mean, it really does appease everyone. Yeah.
So explain, if you could, because if folks haven't been to Fired Pie, you can't really imagine what a cool experience it is as a consumer, what it's like. So how is it different than, the typical pizza restaurant that we might have grown up with?
Yeah. So first, there's a lot of choices to start off with, right? So you pick your crust. You mentioned we have a fresh homemade crust that we make at every single one of our restaurants every day. or you can have the gluten-free or the cauliflower crust. Then you pick your sauce. We have 6 different sauces now 7, because we just had a new Nashville hot chicken pizza. Staying up with the trend, right? That launched Tuesday. And then, then we have cheese. We have 6 different cheeses, that everything from just a fresh mozzarella that we shred every day in-house to a fresh, then we do fresh mozzarella, gorgonzola. I won't name all of them, but you can pick or mix that up on your pizza. Then you start with your proteins. We have 12 different proteins that you can add to your pizza, everything from a spicy sausage mayo to meatballs to capricola, salami. You move on to, and then we have about 30 different veggies that you can add on top of that. Everything from roasted artichokes, roasted olives, we have Kalamata olives, sun-dried tomatoes. So a lot of different stuff, right? And so you build it. You can pick from one of our pizzas, or you can build your own. And most people, even when they pick from our pizzas that we have, 6 or 7 different pizzas, they always make it their way they want it anyway. So, and then same thing with a salad. Just think of that. We have 4 different lettuce, and everything that I just mentioned that you can put on a pizza, you can also put on a salad. And then we start also with a macaroni and cheese, which is very popular with the kids. And so we have macaroni and cheese ready for you. Add different cheeses to it, add different meats to it. We pop it in the oven for about 8 minutes, and boom, you have a piping hot, mac and cheese. We have some fresh baked cookies with vanilla bean ice cream on top. So I think we have a little bit for everybody, right? So,
getting hungry.
I know. I
should have brought some pizzas.
My roasted carrots and my broccoli sitting in the fridge are probably going to have to sit there until tomorrow. We're in Tempe off of Broadway and I-10. Is there one downtown Tempe?
There's one on University off of Mill.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
right on University. Good. So yeah, it's right behind the new Whole Foods they built.
Perfect. That helps me with frame of reference. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Okay, yes, now that we're all hungry. Wow. So how is it that you have these phenomenal business owners just clamoring to be part of Avontage? What makes Avontage special?
Wow, great question. From day one, we always wanted to solve entrepreneurs' problems, and one of the things as a founder, as a business owner, as someone who's trying to grow their business, is having access to a go-to team of experts and skilled people. And so that was the core of building that community that you can collaborate with. So our mindset going to this was build a collaborative community of skilled talent and business owners. So because we kind of make that our cornerstone or the core value of our platform, we naturally attract it and we build it for them. So everything we do is always offer value first and make sure, and we spend about a year testing this thing back and forth, iterating, just like any other software platform. We didn't quite hit the product market fit, and we had some failures and things didn't work out. But the moment the people that we saw we could solve their problem, it was the creative, open-minded entrepreneurs that were open to collaborate. And the community fact of part of our platform is actually what's working really well, especially now during this time is where business owners and entrepreneurs and freelancers, local freelancers, they connect and they help grow their business. So we're lucky to have this caliber of members in our community.
Sean, explain business barter. Before we connected, I had this very archaic idea of what it was, and I was kind of like, I want to stay away. But as you and I connected and you explained the benefits and the success that people are seeing, I was like, holy cow, I need to know more. So what is business barter and how is Avontage different? So
if you notice, I have not used the word barter. And it's because back in the day, I used to be a business owner myself, and I used bartering for a short period, and I enjoyed it, actually. I used it to exchange for attorneys and, to do our LLC and SEO and website, even go out to eat in restaurants. But it stopped because there were some pain points. There were some bad experiences, and it was difficult to use. Part of it was the quality of the members. Part of it was it was just paper trails and phone calls and brokers you had to call back for just a single transaction. And part of it was there was no sense of community. So those are the things. As a software engineer, I'm an ASU grad here, and so I went through approach it and try to solve this systematically, and because my goal has always been to scale this thing nationally. And so we addressed each of the pain points by making it an online platform. Everything is a transaction based. So we use a trade credit system. So it's called Avontage Bucks, which you're not limited to one-to-one trades only. You can trade with one party, earn those credits, and then spend it where you want it, with whom you want it, when you want it. So it kind of makes that whole process more fluid and liquid. And as a business owner, when you offer your services or your skills, that your cost of goods, if you will, for that service is a fraction of what you sell it, right? So, but you end up paying for the things you need with your own services. So and in addition to savings, being a kind of a cash savings way of doing this, when you give out your services or your let's say in Fred's case, gift cards for the restaurants, it's very different than paying for a marketing service cash. You actually give these out, so you get foot traffic coming to your restaurant. So it's a double win when you trade and exchange your services. You also gain hopefully repeat clients and repeat customers. So it was. And a lot of this we learned and we iterated, and we're still doing it. We're still learning. We're trying to make it better, but that's been a journey, and we're really seeing a growth in the last 3 or 4 months, which is very encouraging. And that's why Mark and Ellie, and now we're proud and happy to have Fred on board.
And soon Karen.
And soon Karen, absolutely. As for small business owners, for us. The reason even I named it Avontage, because, in French, Avantage is advantage. And early on, I knew the only advantage that we have as small little guys versus the big corporates and the Amazons and the Walmarts, it's the sheer power in our numbers. So there's 30 million small businesses in the U.S. There's about 60 or 70 million freelancers. So there's about 100 million of us versus them. So that was the concept behind Avontage, the local business advantage. And I think if we can connect us in a community, in an easy, friendly platform that's very community driven, there's so much that we can do, and we're witnessing that in our community.
And you and I have talked a handful of times, and we've said that there's a lot of synergy between Business RadioX and Avontage, and you've just described that. It's why I opened Business RadioX, and like you, I'm not a franchise either, Fred. I am a studio partner, so it's a licensure. We have the founding company in Atlanta, and there are 4 studio partners with their own studios in the Atlanta area. Of course, I opened up the Phoenix market, first female partner and first partner this side of the Mississippi. If we still use that saying, I don't think we do. And since then, Mark Bishop opened up one in Tucson. So you've got your Fired Pie in Tucson. We've got a studio partner down there. And to your point, this is an opportunity to really lift, elevate, and celebrate small businesses, because we really are the backbone of the American economy, right?
100%.
And we need people like Ellie for PR, but there's so much competition. And when there's a robust enterprise or company with mega bucks behind them, they've got their PR firm, they've got their marketing team, they've got their strategists when it comes to social media, right? But what about us little guys that are running and flying solo and have to do that to keep it lean until we're at a place where we can have some traction? So Avontage gives us that opportunity, right, to align ourselves with like-minded people, share and trade services through a very unique way of doing that with Avontage Bucks. What did you call them?
Correct, Avontage
Very
Bucks.
good. I'm so glad I got that right. And Business RadioX, we really simply share the spotlight. So we are very community-minded as well, and we want to give small business owners an opportunity to accelerate their relationships with people in the room. So you had mentioned, Ellie, about really helping get your clients in front of respectable journalists, right?
Right.
Not always an easy task to do.
No. And that's why I think traditional PR can be very expensive. And generally, you can't get a PR person in New York for less than $10,000 a month. And, And that's one of the things I've always loved working with entrepreneurs. So when I kind of restarted, I started with a lot of entrepreneurs that were very cash strapped. And one of the things I'm doing now is I'm starting a class for entrepreneurs that feel they can't afford PR, because it can be very time consuming. And as an entrepreneur, you know your business better than anyone. So just that kind of time that it takes for a PR person to actually get to know your business inside and out and really learn all the angles and hooks that will really get someone's attention, you could kind of learn to do it yourself. So I'm teaching a class. It's called Catapult Your Brand, and we're kind of catapulting it off with Avontage. But that's for people that really feel they can't afford PR, because it is kind of expensive. It's very time consuming to do it right. But I do want to give a shout out to Sean's platform. It's hard to explain because it has evolved, and so barter is the wrong word, but it's basically a platform where I think, so there's great networking organizations out there. And one of the strongest things about Avontage is the networking. And Sean running it the way he does, I don't know how he's going to continue, because he literally answers the phone. He connects people. He's like the father. And so, what should we call you? Not the father, but,
The godfather.
Yeah, he's the godfather.
Not the father, but the godfather.
The godfather of the entrepreneurs.
I'll take that.
Right. And he's really there, all the time. And so I don't know how he's going to continue that service, but he does. And now his virtual hour, which I think we're changing the name, but he has a networking hour once a week where someone with a lot of expertise in their area, an entrepreneur, will get on and talk about what they do. And then everyone networks afterwards and everybody has each other's information. But then the big bonus with Sean is that you can go on his site and find that person and do a trade with them, or take your Avontage bucks and do something else. So for me personally, like I found someone to help me with my website, which has always been an issue for me, help me with leads, I've found someone for skincare. I've gone to a chiropractor. I've having Mark help me with my time, which, I may be his worst client ever, but
or his best.
I forget our meetings.
That's a good client.
So yeah, it's been a phenomenal opportunity to work with Sean and his platform.
That's so great to hear
Pleasure to
that.
have you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So my mind is just racing. So tell me a little bit more about the virtual hour. Is that just for members only, or can you come and experience it? And how does that work?
So it started out with just members only. And we started seeing that people just invite friends and they come on and the connections are made. And we even get requests, hey, I missed it. Can you send me a copy of the video? Which was really the inspiration behind our trying to launch our own podcast, because people were finding value. Yes, which we'll talk. But yeah, it's called Collaborative Business Hour, and it's every Friday at 10 a.m. on Zoom. If you want to join us, go to avontage.com, and it's open to everyone. It gives you a taste of what our community looks like, who are the people, what takes place. So we're really making it open to anyone that's the right fit.
It's so important for service-run businesses, even product businesses, to have that opportunity to get a taste for it, right? Before you jump in, especially when it's a commitment and a membership. Mm-hmm. I love that you've opened it up to members. And again, you're listening to your members and your clients and what's needed, and you continue to grow and evolve from that place.
It is the best way to understand our platform, through our members, through the conversations and who they are and what they offer to one another. And just so you know, our platform is actually completely free to join and free to post and free to transact on the sales side. When you sell your offers, the only fee we have is when you actually earn value, when you go use your Avontage bucks and buy something, that's when we have a small transaction fee. So we kept it as low risk as possible.
And the inspiration behind that?
Me, because I'm a business owner myself. I was a founder and a business owner, and I know it was tight on cash. So offer value. I'm a firm believer that offer value first, and then money will follow.
I think a good majority of our Metro Phoenix and really Arizona business owners are like that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So Mark and I are part of Conscious Capitalism Arizona, and we talk about the 4 tenets and really taking care of all stakeholders. Not just your customers, but your vendors, your employees, the community at large, your leadership team. And you don't have to sacrifice one relationship for another. When you're looking at it through that lens of how can I be the best version of XYZ, and find a way to have everybody win, it's golden. And clearly each of you are doing that. I want to bring it back to Fred, because you described your pizzas and your meals so wonderfully. And as you're doing it, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I thought of the times that I've been at Fired Pie, again at the Avontage location, shout out to that crew, there's something magical about your customer service as well. Is that intentional, or did I just happen to get a good handful of employees?
No, that's not at all. And thanks for mentioning it. But yeah, I mean, we don't hire people that have really been in the business. They may have, but we hire personalities, and that's what we say, right? And when we created Fired Pie, you've been to other places in the fast casual that have listed the name of the product, or they write on the glass what it is or something. That's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to make sure that our employees would talk to our guests, right? And that's what they're called, guests, right? And so it's very important for us to have employees. We don't ask a lot of questions. Have you worked in an industry before? Do you want to work in restaurants? Or what we ask is, do you like to talk to people? Because you will be talking to people, right? Do you like that socialize? Because that's very important to us. So a lot of our employees have never worked in the business before, and but we can teach them how to make a pizza. That's easy, right? And work the oven and work register. That's the easy part. But you really can't teach personality. Yeah. So that's what we spend a lot of time. And the other thing that we decided early on is that, like, we even fast casual, most fast casual, they either call a number, got a screen or something like that. Again, we want personality involved. So, we let you go sit down, and we bring the food to your table for you. We ask that the employees go out and clear the table for you, and not just go and dump it in a garbage can somewhere if it's not too busy. But, so those things, those little subtle hints is what we really think make a big difference between Fired Pie and the other guys. So, it's we have our turnover is fairly low, and a lot of we have employees that have been with us, 5-6 years, and we also believe in promoting from within. Probably 50% of our managers had worked for us as an hourly employee and now general managers. So, that's important, and even when I was with California Pizza Kitchen, it was something that we really pride ourselves on. And if we can really help them see or get to the next level in this business and teach them something, look, I don't think that they can stay with Fired Pie for the rest of their lives, maybe, because we are limited in what we can do, but it definitely will give them a jump start in this industry and move to the next level. And, we have GMs that have been with us 3, 4, 5 years. So we're very happy. And our employees are one of the most important things, because I can't be at the restaurant every day. Doug can't be at the restaurant, nor should I. But our employees are there, and they spend more time with our customers than we do. So they have to reflect what our beliefs are.
They really are a beautiful reflection of you. And we've just met for the first time, but I can see now why you have the team that you do. And eye contact is everything. And I remember the first time I was in a Fired Pie, the server busy making the food as we're having a conversation about what I want on my pizza, but that eye contact and just that willingness, like we're doing today, like, oh, hello, right? Right? So easy to not do that, but it was evident that that's part of the Fired Pie family. It's part of your core values, and just a lot of fun to hear it from you, co-founder. Are you are a partner then? The two of you have this business together? Yeah,
actually, Doug and I, my business partner, we've known each other forever. I think I mentioned California Pizza Kitchen. We actually met in Chicago. We both worked for California Pizza Kitchen, and Doug worked for me for a while. I moved up to regional director, and actually brought Doug even after I came to Arizona. I came to work for another pizza chain here, and brought Doug along to be my regional director when I was CEO of that company. And after leaving there, just thinking about it, we thought about, what are we going to do now? And really decided to, go into business for ourselves. We looked at different franchises. We looked at the other concepts similar to Fired Pie. And with our experience being, over 20 some years of being in the pizza business alone and being in the restaurant business over 30 years, decided it was time and we thought we could build a better restaurant. And, we knew that having pizza was just part of what we wanted. A lot of people, and I know I talk a little bit about my experience. I was with California Pizza Kitchen for over 17 years and moved up. So I ended up being regional vice president there. And just knowing that a lot of people think California Pizza Kitchen was all pizza because pizza was in their name, but pizza was only 33% of our sales, right? And salads was the other 33 and pasta was the other 33. So that really made up a lot of our menu. And so we knew when we built Fired Pie that we wanted to have at least the salad element and being healthy. So that accounts for about 20-25% of our sales here at Fired Pie. So
again, that speaks to customer service, the environment you've created. If pizza's in the name, people will go to look to see, right? What else are you offering? Because not everybody eats pizza. Ellie and I both said, why can't we kind of swore off pizza all those years ago when, it was deemed awful food.
Yeah.
But you've come along, right? You've served the trends, you've served health needs, that sort of thing. And to have other things on the menu speaks volumes about tasty salads, macaroni and cheese, getting in there and having just a great meal with family and friends.
Yeah, and that's the beauty also of our pizza, because it's really the Neapolitan style, thin crust, which, you can eat a fired pie and not feel like you're going to need to take a nap the next day, right? Sean's been there many times, so I definitely know he can attest to that.
And if you want that feeling, eat 2 or 3.
That's right.
Don't go somewhere else.
I love it.
Eat more.
That's right. So that really makes a big difference, right? And it's so you can have it for lunch. You don't have to wait for dinner. And the other aspect of it is the technology today, we can get that pizza done in 3 to 4 minutes, so that makes a big difference.
Yeah, it sure
it's
does.
also very clean and open space. That's what I love about it. It's Art Deco. It's kind of modern, but very clean. And these days, it's important where we choose to eat.
Extra.
I kind of want an open space, clean. So that's important.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mark, I want to come back to you because as we're talking, I can't help but thinking, obviously, that we're in a room with powerful individuals who have said, this is what I want in life, and I'm going to go get it, right? I really sense that about each of us. How, and I'm sure you're saying that as well, right? You're our resident expert when it comes to time management and strategy, that sort of thing. What prevents people from managing their time? So clearly not us, because we've got it managed. Wink, wink. No, I'm pretty good about it, but I always need reminders. So those of us that are high performers, but also those who are struggling or maybe just new to university work and a new student in college or starting their business off. And there's so many things that we have to manage. How can people manage their time and what keeps us from doing it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, too, we teach that which we need to do ourselves the most. So I'm sitting here saying, exactly, I'm like, I still can use some benefit. And at the same
That's
time,
honest.
yeah, well, it's true. I mean, it's one of those things that we're all working on, really wanting to make that big difference that we can. And if there's one thing that I would say as I'm listening to each one, and I wanted to also just address the fact that I know Fred is relatively new to the Avontage platform, and it just basically hearing what you were talking about, the personality. The Avontage community is such an amazing group of people coming together. And so just kind of thinking about all of that, there's such a beautiful element of team. And so I'm excited about that because that's what I just consistently see inside of Avontage. In terms of the time management piece, as entrepreneurs, we end up deciding and say yes to so many things. And so the biggest thing is we need to say yes less. And if there's one point that I would like to make, and including myself, right, that's the thing that I've been working on. And, so much of what I teach in terms of the organization is how do we keep simplifying it? As Sean was just alluding to the fact that it's very clean, it's a very modern, Fired Pie is very clean and modern inside. Like we need to consistently do that and think about that inside of our business. What do we need to do? How do we need to trim it off here? And what words do we need to eliminate? I'm always reminded of a fun quote inside of Ocean's 11, where it's Brad Pitt's character is talking to Matt Damon's character before he's about to go in and talk with Andy Garcia. And when he goes in, as he's getting him prepared, he said, it's something along the lines of, don't use 7 words when 5 words will do. And so much of what I look at myself personally is years ago, if you were to ask me some of these questions, I would have gone off for 25 minutes and I wouldn't have answered the question. And I'm speaking to that now because I had to go through that painful experience of trying to say 25 million different things. So the biggest thing that I would say in terms of time is say yes less. And how can you consistently take a look at what are the things that you are doing and how can you consistently look at improving those? There's a famous story that I tell many of my clients, and it's from John Wooden. And for those of you that know John Wooden, he's one of the most winningest NCAA head coaches out there. I mean, he's gone down and he's registered as one of the greatest. And one thing that I heard years ago that really always stood out to me was on the first day of practice, when his students, when the players would come in, he had them all take off their socks and shoes. Why would a basketball coach tell his players to take off their socks and shoes?
Why would you do that?
He said, if you put your socks and shoes on correctly, you won't get blisters. You won't miss practice. You'll be able to play your best game. He won 10 out of 12 championships. And he taught on the first day of practice. I just heard this like a year ago, the second point to this. He taught that for the whole first practice. From freshmen to seniors. Now, don't you think the seniors had already been through that a couple times? Yet, when you focus on those little details and do them so implicitly well, there's not a mistake that, as you were sharing about your experience with the Awatuki staff, that Fred spoke to those. And again, I don't know exactly what you did inside of there. At the same time, like he's so focused on the fundamentals that the fundamentals take care of so many other things. And so if there's one piece that I talk about the most, it's the fundamentals. We could talk about a gazillion different new marketing ideas and strategies and ways to go about doing this and that. And yet, if you're not doing the fundamentals right, they're all like icing on something that isn't necessarily something that you want to really put icing on.
For sure. There's a saying, and I might not have the right person in mind, but we all have as much time as Beyonce, let's say. I think that's the one that I've heard. And it's really true, right? So some of these folks that we look up to that seem to have it all, they have just as many hours in the day as the rest of us. And so, granted, when you're Beyonce, you have a lot of help, right? I mean, I'm not there yet, but I look forward to the day, do my hair, pick out my clothes. No.
Enter Avontage.
Yes.
Avontage plug right there.
For sure, right?
We have them all.
Maybe not the hair stuff. I don't know about
it. I think so.
Wow.
But to the points that you're sharing through that beautiful illustration is that if you want to gain back time, right, you need to start looking at and examining how you're using your time and where to steal back some of that time.
Right.
Yes. One of the biggest things that I teach my clients are category days. And there are so many different things that we have to do as a business owner. And what if we dedicated a day? Now, it's not to say that that's the only thing that you do that day, but if you need to focus on marketing on a specific day. So that way, every single time something for your marketing idea comes up, you don't have to, oh my gosh, I got to go do that right now and drop whatever it is that you're working on to go do that. You simply just put that on marketing day. And I know it's overly simplified, and it's one of those things that you could start to practice and implement today and start looking at those things. Look at the main categories. You've got marketing, you've got sales, you've got product development, you've got finance. I mean, look at those areas and define and set boundaries. We have, there was a great video that someone shared on a call that I was doing on Friday, and it was about Spaceship U. And it was talking about how when inside of the pandemic, how do you need to make sure that you arrange your home so that you're not dripping work into your office, or not your office, but in your living spaces or in your bedroom or all of these other places. It's the idea of setting boundaries. And when we get really good at setting boundaries, we can say, we could say yes less.
Right.
And say yes to more things that are of great benefit and fill our cup.
True.
Ellie, did you have something to add?
Yeah, that's so interesting that you've been talking about that, because I don't know if you planted the seed, but recently one of the things that's happened with the COVID is everyone's teaching now. So constantly in my emails, and even when you're going down the rabbit hole late at night on your computer, you find interesting things, so you sign up for them. Well, then they sell that. So recently, I've been just finding that my box is full of interesting things. They're PR stories. They're what's going on in the news. It's not about politics. It's stuff I want to read. But recently, just this week, I'm deleting, unsubscribing. And I'm going through this time thing because it's become where I'm working almost 24/7, except when I'm sleeping. I've started doing my research on media and journalists in the evening now before I'm falling asleep doing that, or I'm reading PR news in the evening. So it's so funny because I'm helping Mark with his PR a little bit. And one of the things I have to keep telling him and everyone, when you write about yourself, bring it down to, your first paragraph should be telling the journalist or whatever outlet you're trying to get to, say the most you can say, what, where, when, why this would be of interest to them in the very first paragraph. Keep it to one page. And same thing when you're pitching. It's like, for me, my most important time is writing and pitching. So I have to be very careful about my energy levels when I do things. And I've told people in the class, don't even try to write your story when you're tired. You'll just hate it. You have to do your creative work, like Mark said, when you're creative. And you have to focus on certain things at certain times. So it's interesting we're having this conversation. It comes down to time, but it's really about how to do your job productively and live your life.
And what a beautiful example. You said that you're helping Mark and Mark's helping you. Yeah. It's a perfect example of how Avontage works, but it doesn't have to be direct like that.
Right. No.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. And, as a founder, as someone who had the vision, when I witnessed these, that's the maximum gratification for me.
Sure.
And going to what Ellie also provides PR service for us, public relations, right?
PR.
I make people famous.
I connected with press release, but you guys come too.
I love it.
Yeah, but it's just the way she not only is, utilizing our own members for what we need as a platform, as a community. It's a blessing because who knows our platform, our community better than Ellie, than me trying to go outside and hire a PR person and explain who we are.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Mark. I've actually gone through some of his coaching sessions. I came from this. I'm a little bit older, so coaching
older than
was.
Who? Fred and I are looking at you like, really?
My kids. They call me boomer, so I've got that mindset.
Don't listen to them.
I know. They say it lovingly. But it's coaching was, I believe in mentorship and mentoring and kind of brainstorming, but coaching was not in my vocabulary, honestly. And since I went through Mark's session, I have become such a believer of what a coach can do for you. And he has this mind mapping session, which is the top seller in our platform, in our community. And it's literally you sit through a 2-hour session with him, and everything that's in your head, it's dumped on a map. And everything's categorized, and everything you visually see what's in your brain, and you walk away lighter. It's like, and then you kind of, just like you said, you are able to compartmentalize each of the millions of tasks that you have to do throughout the week, and just put it in that slot and come back to it when it's the right time. So, kudos to Mark. He's one of our top quality members that really gets involved in the community. And I recommend his mind mapping session highly.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks for that.
Yes. Love it.
And make sure to show up for your appointment.
Yes.
Well,
I'm on Zoom. Where are you?
We'll work on it.
I'm familiar. So for those of my pals that are listening, they're familiar. How many times do I actually have to email you before you respond? And where were you when we were supposed to meet? And yet we continue, right? We persevere. We've already had an opportunity to speak for the time allotted for this segment. Can you believe it? I promised you that it would go very quickly.
So
and I really feel like and hope that each of you had an opportunity to really speak to your brilliance and get to know each other better. That's obviously our hope. And we want you to have an opportunity to let other people know that you're here serving our community. So before we wrap up the show, if you could each just go around one more time, say your name, company, where we can find you, either brick and mortar location or, of course, your website. You don't have to start it with www. I always smile when people do that. Just give us the website and how it ends. And if you are on social media, which social media platform we can follow you on. Do you mind starting for us, Mark?
Yeah, no problem. Mark Jamnik with Enjoy Life Daily Company. And you can find me at enjoylifedaily.com. I also am on Facebook under my name, Mark Jamnik, MarkJamnik. I'm also on Twitter under Mark Jamnik. And I have for those that are interested in my art, you can also find on Instagram under Mark Jamnik as well. And that's MarkJam, M as in Michael, N as in Nicholas, IK. And I've just really thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I love this community. I've really found a connection to everyone here. And it is such a beautiful team of collaboration. And one way that I've kind of embodied it or shared it with others is that it's like a relay race, and there's certain people inside of the platform that will help you do one thing, and then you could take that to the next team member, to the next team member, to the next team member, to the next team member. And so that's a really good way for us all to realize that we're all in this together. We've experienced that phrase more often than I think in any other year during this year of pandemic. And at the same time, it's never been more true. And we do need each other to help each other go further. One of my favorite, I'll leave it with this quote, and that's one of my favorite quotes by the African proverb. It's if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go further, go together.
Very good.
It's great.
Again,
Great.
mic drop. Love
Very
it.
good.
Fred, how about you next? Where can we find you?
Good. FiredPie.com. We're on Facebook also, Twitter under Fired Pie. We also have 21 locations in Arizona, one down in Tucson, the rest here in Arizona. We can find us everywhere from Scottsdale to Phoenix to, as you said, even Ahwatukee.
Yeah.
But, we continue to look for spots. We're hoping to go up north soon. So I really enjoyed being here today. So thank you very much.
Up North Flagstaff?
Yes, right.
Yeah, I have a sense that might be where my next studio is going to be. So we'll do it together.
There you go.
I love it.
Nice.
Sean, how about you?
Thanks again for the opportunity,
My pleasure.
Karen. It's been amazing. I enjoyed everyone here. Sean Sarram, I'm the founder of Avontage, and we're on all the platforms, avontage.com, or Avontage is our handle name. We are a local platform, but we've launched nationally. So we have members in Florida, in Boston, in Kansas. So we're expanding. Our big marketing campaign is about to launch by the end of this month. And come join and try us on Fridays. We're on Zoom every Friday at 10 a.m. You can come to the website and register and just kind of get a feel of our community.
Thank you.
Thank
Ellie.
you.
Hi, I'm Ellie Lowney with Creating Buzz PR and doing PR for Sean. You spell that Avontage, Avontage.
Oh, thank you.
So people don't know how to
That's why you got
pronounce
the
it.
best.
That's right. Nudge, nudge.
So my company's Creating Buzz, BUZZ, PR.com. And I am on Facebook, but it's under Elizabeth at Creating Buzz PR. I'm on LinkedIn, and you can find me at creatingbuzzpr.com.
And more than just a PR service, given the breadth of knowledge and experience that you've had, right, leading into this new evolution of your business, the marketing, the
Yes.
branding. We didn't even really get to talk about branding and story. We'll have to have you back for that
I
conversation.
would love that, yeah, because
Yes.
it's all about the story and the branding.
Yeah.
People don't have attention anymore, and it really is about summing up who you are and knowing who you are, knowing what your purpose is. And I love working with my clients. I love PR, and I love getting people in the news. It makes them so happy.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to talk about yourself anyway, so.
Yes, well, right. And that's why we do what we do. Everything we do here at Business Radio X is people love to talk about themselves. We want to get the right people in the room, make those right connections. Yes, it's great to have listeners on podcasts as well, but for us, that's ancillary. It is the magic that's taken place right here today that makes us do what we do so well. So thank you again for joining us today. You've been listening to Phoenix Business Radio X, broadcasting live from within the Max 6 Conscious Capitalism workspace. Some media leans left, some lean right, and we lean business. Until next time, I'm Karen Nowicki. Thanks for listening.